This is the voice of the Committee of Enigmas, a special subsidiary group of the Trans-Global Institute of Archaeological Investigations. My name is Dr. Mungo Macrae, and I wish to introduce you to the Hontropy X Phenomena Archives. While we await the latest correspondences from Dr. Marian Taknassis, from whom we have received nothing in recent weeks, we return to the sonic investigations of the committee at large, beginning with a case of extreme weirdness, which is particular to my local vicinity and which has been committed to the archives under the title of The Cryptids of Ailnack Gorge. From the Ailnack Gorge to the Appalachians. There have been several sightings of unidentified creatures in the Ailnack Gorge that lies to the north of the uniquely strange subarctic plateau of the Cairngorm Mountains. The Ailnack Gorge is a lost world of unexplored terrain, wild and inaccessible, and known to be the largest glacial meltwater channel in the British Isles. It can be viewed mostly from the overhanging ridges, such as they can be approached over the severity of the landscape as a whole. To enter the gorge requires an intrepid spirit and a willingness to overcome the dangers of a steep descent into the primeval thickets and curdling everglades that lie within its sunken interior. The gorge presents a perfectly survivable habitat for any undiscovered species that may continue to exist in the world's hidden places. To this extent, we believe that the descriptions we have obtained of a shaggy grey-haired bipedal upright figure, allegedly seen in the mysterious secluded recesses of the gorge, are scientifically credible. More broadly, certain documentary accounts in the annals of the National Library of Scotland provide eyewitness accounts of a big grey hominid creature that is said to inhabit the most isolated regions of the Cairngorm Plateau. They attest to weird encounters with a figure known as the Big Grey Man of Ben Macadooey, which derives its name from successive reports of sightings that occurred on that particular mountainous location. The most famous encounter was recorded by J. Norman Colley, 1859 to 1942, an eminent professor of chemistry and leading light of the Royal Geographical Society, who was also honorary president of the Cairngorm Club, and whose account of the Big Grey Man of Ben Macadooey remains the most known and celebrated to this day. A description of his experience is given in the July 1926 edition of the Cairngorm Club Journal, where it is said that he was returning from the cairn on the summit in a mist when he began to think he heard something else than merely the noise of his own footsteps. He listened and heard it again, but could see nothing in the mist. As he walked on, and the eerie crunch sounded behind him, he was seized with the most tremendous terror. Why, he did not know, for he did not mind being alone on the hills. But the uncanny something which he sensed caused fear to seize him by the throat. He took to his heels and ran, staggering blindly among the boulders, for 4 or 5 miles, nearly down to Rothimarcus Forest. That was an experience which made him feel that on no account would he ever venture back to the top of Ben Macadooey alone. That is the end of the story, said Professor Colley. Whatever you may make of it, I do not know, but there is something very queer about the top of Ben Macadooey, and I will not go back there again myself, I know. We have speculated, together with the committee members in the United States and Canada, that the big grey anthropoid figure of the Cairngorms could be a distant cousin of the North American Sasquatch, as found in the Pacific Northwest, or perhaps more likely, that it is related to a similar creature of the Appalachians, called the hillbilly beast, and another of the same vicinity, called the grass man. It is known in the field of geology that the mountains of Scotland were once part of a great range that included the Appalachians, prior to the breakup of the old continents and the formation of the new ones we know today. It is a part of our antediluvian history which certainly excites the imagination and instills a solid foundation of legitimate speculations, albeit with no solid foundations to confirm, a shared transatlantic heritage of our respective cryptozoological traditions. In the meantime, it is also said that there is a great slithering eel-like creature that dwells in the most secluded boggy tracts of the Ailnack Gorge, which is variously described as having a large mouth, no eyes, and a smooth black body that tapers off into a long black tail. The local name for this beast, apparently, is Old Begorret. While sightings have been few and far between of the eel-like creature in recent times, there are tales of two poachers who descended into the Ailnack Gorge in pursuit of wildfowl, who subsequently failed to re-emerge from its sunken interior and stage a return to their family homes. They have since been reported missing to the local constabulary, who appear reluctant, however, to embark on a search and recovery of the disappeared men, for reasons which remain unclear and, frankly, irregular where such cases are concerned. We, however, have undertaken an expedition of our own into the Ailnack Gorge, using the Parafaction Sound Investigations apparatus to capture live sound recordings of the peculiar environmental setting. The recordings were made during the night of the 23rd to the 24th of November, 1932, transmitted here without comment, such as we obtained them at the time of listening. Postscript to the Cryptids of Ailnack Gorge. In the morning after our recording session, and prior to our departure from the Ailnack Gorge, one of our party, Dr. Samuel Creel of the University of Falmouth in England, here on a trip for the purposes of his own research, made an impromptu discovery of a discarded hunting rifle that lay half buried in the foliage of a particularly entangled area of the woodlands. Beside the rifle was a deerskin bag containing the chastened bones of wildfowl, the catch of the day, it appears, of our missing poachers. No other traces of the poachers were found, no bodies, no clothes, no boots or cartridges, nor any other human item. I suppose we should report this to the local constabulary, remarked Dr. Creel, in a tone that was somewhat indifferent rather than horrified by the implications of what he had found. But then he added, with a note of genuine sorrow in his voice, "Pity these poor men who strayed into this unhallowed place." And with a chill of the silence gathering around us, we wholeheartedly agreed.